आपका। मैं हूं आपके साथ हिमांशु दीक्षित
और मैं हूं आपके साथ ज्योत्सना बेदी। आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव भारत के लोगों के लिए समर्पित है, जिसमें भारत के गौरवशाली इतिहास, संस्कृति और उपलब्धियों का जश्न मनाया जा रहा है।
जम्मू कश्मीर, जिसे धरती पर जन्नत भी कहा जाता है, 23 अक्टूबर से 19 अक्टूबर तक स्पिरिट ऑफ कश्मीर मनाया जा रहा है।
और साथ ही विलास पवार जी को भी आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी, जो कि चॉइस हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंडिया प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर हैं। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है इस खास कार्यक्रम में। और इनके साथ मैं टाइम्स नाउ की ग्रुप एडिटर नाविका कुमार का भी स्वागत करती हूं, जो कि इस सेशन को आगे ले जाएंगी। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। नाविका कुमार जी।
तो 23 तारीख से लेकर 29 तारीख तक यह महोत्सव मनाया जाएगा। उत्सव नहीं, महोत्सव इसे कहा जा रहा है। जम्मू कश्मीर की संस्कृति, जम्मू कश्मीर का इतिहास, कला सभी यहां पर देखने को मिलेगा। उसको अनुभव करने का मौका यहां पर मिलेगा। धरती की जन्नत जिसे कहा जाता है।
Thank you, Deepika, and we're here. We are going to begin the show this morning. Spirit of Kashmir, and who knows the spirit of Kashmir better than the people who are going to join me on stage. Welcome on stage, Jyotsna Suri ji. She's the chairman and managing director of the Lalit Group of Hotels. Woman entrepreneur holding her fort. Let me also invite on stage Mr. Khosla, who represents the Taj Group of Hotels, Indian Hotel Corporation Limited. Everybody knows the Taj Group of Hotels. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me also invite on stage Vilas Pawar, Choice Group of Hotels and Budget Hotels, something that this country is looking forward to, also joining me on the stage this morning. How do I introduce three people who know everything about the hospitality industry and tourism, and people who have run hotels and the hotel business for so long? I begin with you, Ms. Jyotsna Suri. We've had a tough time, whether it was COVID or whether it was, Kashmir, militancy. You have a beautiful property here. We are right now sitting at the Lalit Hotel in the Darbar Hall. And Jyotsna Suri, it's been a challenge, not just with COVID, but, overall, the situation in Kashmir. I want to begin the discussion today with asking you on how things have changed in the last 2 years, despite the fact that there has been COVID, which has slowed down the tourism industry. Are there winds of change that we see blowing in Jammu and Kashmir?
Thank you very much, Navika, and namaskar to all of you. The last 2 years, as you rightly said, have actually been completely devastated by COVID. Our industry was the worst hit. But the challenge of Kashmir has been an ongoing challenge for a long time. We've been associated, Lalit and myself got associated with the palace. It's almost 22 years now. And we've had our share of highs and lows. There were times when for 3 months at a stretch, we didn't have a single guest in the hotel. However, we kept the hotel open. What happened in the last 2 years, though, is a little bit of an anomaly. And that is that when COVID hit, of course, it hit the entire industry. But suddenly last year, we had a spurt of visitors coming to Kashmir. And this hotel was full of people. So the winds of change from the point of view of people coming into Kashmir certainly is there. Small little incidents that come up, and again it goes back into oblivion, and people begin to cancel. So I think what we really need here is stability, and I see that the abrogation of the Article 370 certainly was the beginning of some change, and I'm very hopeful that this will continue. There will be stability here. People will get economically engaged, and the more they get engaged, the better it is going to be for our industry.
Let me ask you, Mr. Khosla, numbers that were given to us, we did have a devastating second wave of COVID-19. But since then, at least tourism in Kashmir seemed to go back to the pre-COVID levels, maybe in Kashmir surpassing the pre-COVID levels. I want to ask you, when this began, we saw record tourist inflows into Kashmir, do you think this is sustainable, number one? And what do we need to do in Kashmir to make tourism sustainable? Because tourism as a sector, when it works, hospitality as a sector, when it works, it creates employments, not just in the hotel industry, but it has ripple effects across the spectrum of industries that exist. How do you think we need to move forward on that thinking?
Thank you, Navika. I think you're absolutely right. We've had some very good times in the last couple of months, and that has happened after the post-COVID era. Like Ms. Suri was mentioning, that there is a stability factor. Our industry is extremely fragile, and a lot of things that happen around the industry impact our industry. And like you said very rightly, it's not just the hospitality business. It's employment generation. It's contributing back to the economy. It is giving the local arts, handicrafts, people involved in the industry, not directly but indirectly, livelihoods. So I think for any government, and I think more specifically for the government of Jammu and Kashmir, in such a beautiful location, heaven on earth, it's imperative that we create an environment which is safe, it's accessible. And I think as far as accessibility is concerned, there are great flight connections, 60 flights a day, 8,000 people to be taken care of at the airport, which is great. But I think once we move on from the recent instability, I think we will be in a position to bolster business and grow a business. You may not be aware, but I think there have been a lot of influx of multiple brands coming into Kashmir now and growing their presence. So we have more and more hotels, not only opening in Srinagar, but opening in Pahalgam, in Sonmarg, in Gulmarg, in Tunmarg. And I think holistic development of tourism is what is really required. So I think we are on the right track. We should move ahead even better. It's a little bit a bump in the road what we had recently, but I think we are in the right direction.
Well, that should come as music to the ears of policy makers, because policy makers have been looking at Jammu and Kashmir as a state that requires a lot of hand-holding at the moment and a lot of positivity. So let me ask you, Vilas Pawar, from where Mr. Khosla left off. October 18th, almost 12,000 passengers traveled on 82 flights to and from Kashmir. It's a number that came from the Kashmir Airport Authority. And that gives you a sense of how Kashmir ranks right up there when it comes to tourism. I want to ask you, Mr. Khosla says there are a lot of brands coming in. You represent an American chain. budget hotels. There are different kinds of, people who take to tourism in our country. And there is a need for all strata of society to have good hotels to come to. How do you look at Kashmir as a potential investment as well as a potential tourism hotspot, given the fact that militancy seems to be somewhere on the back burner, a little incidents here and there, but overall, what do you think about the investment climate?
Thank you, Navika. Thank you for having me over. I think it's, like Rohit said, it's a great opportunity here in Kashmir. Kashmir is, it's probably one of our top two, if not the topmost destination for tourism, with the potential of being the topmost destination for tourism. We don't get the kind of, topography, the kind of culture and the history that goes with Kashmir in any part of the country as we get it here in Kashmir. There is, there is an opportunity to grow for tourism here. We are at a very nascent stage right now. And there's a huge opportunity. Unfortunately, historically, Kashmir has, because of stability issues and incidents over here, has not been growing. But I would encourage the policy makers and the people involved in the tourism over here to actually have a very educated and calculated growth plan. Before, we don't want to see Kashmir go down. Hello. Yeah, or the other lovely places like Sonmarg and Gulmarg go down the way the other hill stations have gone down in the country. So I think the opportunity to grow it calculatively is great. The brands are all available here. The only thing that everybody is waiting is to see a little bit more stability before they're coming in. Investments are, with the going away of the Article 370, we've seen a great amount of interest developed in Kashmir. At least the word out there is that there's an opportunity. Let's look at it. I think people is waiting to see how stable things get. This state has got everything. From an international perspective, it's a shame to see and read the figures. Actually, 2019 we had only about 58,000 foreign tourists and 16.6 million Indian tourists. 80% of the tourism that the state brings in is mostly religious, and that can easily be reversed. We can really see a lot of tourism, not religious necessarily, but to enjoy people from overseas come in, because we got it all. It's pristine, it's clear, it's crisp, and I think there's an opportunity that and I think it'll benefit the state, because the ancillary revenues that tourism brings, employment in terms of the handicrafts, the purchasing power, everything goes up for the locals over here. And I think tourism, as we speak, contributes, if I may not be wrong, about 7 to 8% of the tourism GDP here for J&K is through tourism, and that has a capacity to really extrapolate into double or triple, double figures definitely over the years. So I think the opportunity is huge. Little bumps on the road, like we see, little incidents will obviously hamper it. Unfortunately, people outside the state don't know if little instance that happens in Kashmir somewhere, relates directly to Srinagar. Everybody says, should we go there, should we not go there? But I think the recent figures that Navika, you shared with us on the 18th of October, those are good figures, very encouraging figures, and I think we should be able to see the next couple of years growing. And like Rohit said, there are brands coming in, and there are brands waiting to come in. There are companies, there are investors ready to invest. This is a virgin territory in India right now.
That's very important when you say this is virgin territory. And Jyotsna Surya, I want to ask you, because you made this hotel in Kashmir at a time when things were not so good. They were good, and then they were not so good, and now how do you see the ups and downs in Kashmir and the upswing that we were just talking about? How is it different from before?
So, as I mentioned, it's now almost 22 years since we was associated with the palace, and when we opened it, it was at the height of insurgency at that time. There were days, like I said, months when we didn't have a single guest here. But somehow, we were very confident that when things get settled down here and when there is stability here, this place is going to be the #1 tourist destination. And that was the confidence that we had. And that's what kept us going. I mean, we never closed this hotel for a single day. Even in the worst of times, the hotel has always remained open because we believe it's a symbol of Kashmir. And thank you. Thank you.
Well, that does deserve a loud round of applause. Not shutting during militancy as well shows the faith you always had in Kashmir being a part of India, and in the industry, and especially your hotel being a part of Kashmir.
Yeah, so that's it, you see, and it is a symbol of Kashmir, it's a symbol of India, and we felt that it was our responsibility in a way. But more than that, we were very confident that this is going to happen. And sure enough, you saw that. We saw that at a time when COVID was really hitting out the rest of the country. We had visitors from all over the country. As you mentioned, that there haven't been many foreign tourists here, but let me tell you that Kashmir, right from the beginning, was not really a hub for foreign tourists, like Goa is, for example. Kashmir always had domestic tourists, and even now, as we can see, and during this time, it has been the domestic movement. As a matter of fact, Navika, domestic has kept us alive. We in this industry are surviving only because of the domestic movement, which has gone up to 1 billion plus by now. Foreign tourist arrivals are there, and we're looking forward to them. We would love to have them, and I believe there is a flight coming in from Dubai very soon. There's going to be some connections. So happy to have them, but even for the Indians, you see, Kashmir is a very, very special place. So somebody down south, for example, in Kerala, would love to come up to Kashmir because of what it is. And what I'm seeing now, your question, as are you seeing any change? Yes, I am, because there are tourists from all over the country that have visited us. We've had a very good season, and I'm certainly very sure that this will subside and tourists will continue to come. And the season that begins now in March, April, when we have beautiful tulips here, I believe it's going to be a very good season. And it's for us to make sure that it happens. What does Kashmir need? It needs zero marketing. There is no marketing required for this state. And it has everything, as has been mentioned before. What it just needs is stability. And that stability is going to come. The center has taken a huge interest in the state. And I must tell you that over the last couple of months, there have been several parliamentary delegations that have come here. And of course, today, the Home Minister's visit itself is a very big morale booster. And what the message that is going out is that it is safe to be here. Once that happens, let me tell you, Kashmir is going to beat any tourist destination in the world. It's going to beat it.
बिल्कुल कश्मीर को मार्केटिंग की ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि बहुत पहले ये कहा गया था कि अगर ज़मीन पे कहीं जन्नत है तो वो यही है। खोसला साहब, अगर जन्नत यही है तो जन्नत को जन्नत बनाने के लिए अभी करना बाकी क्या रह गया है?
देखिए, जन्नत तो जो ऊपर वाले ने दी हुई है, वो तो हम उसके बारे में सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ कर सकते हैं, जो हमको दिया हुआ है उसे प्रोटेक्ट करिए। सो टूरिज़्म जो है वो सस्टेनेबल मैनर में होनी चाहिए। टूरिज़्म एक किसी भी स्टेट के लिए ज़रूरी है, वहाँ के लोगों के लिए ज़रूरी है, मगर वहाँ की सभ्यता को प्रोटेक्ट करना भी उतना ही ज़रूरी है। सो सस्टेनेबल टूरिज़्म इज़ द वे फॉरवर्ड। और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, की ज़रूरत होती है, कनेक्टिविटी विद रोड्स, कनेक्टिविटी इंटरनली, quality of amenities. These are important for developing tourism. See, कश्मीर की सबसे अच्छी बात यह है कि ये राउंड द ईयर डेस्टिनेशन। अब मैं राउंड, लोग सोचेंगे कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ कि जब बर्फ़ पड़ती है तो यहाँ पे थोड़ी आएगा कोई, बट एक्चुअली इंडिया में इतनी जगह है जहाँ पे लोग तड़पते हैं बर्फ़ को देखने के लिए। तो जो लोग सोचते हैं कि ये ऑफ सीज़न है, एक्चुअली कुछ जगहों के लिए ये पीक सीज़न है, क्योंकि ये भी एक किस्म का टूरिज़्म है जो कि लोग बर्फ़ देखने जाते हैं। उसी तरह से गर्मियों में लोग जहाँ पे प्लेन्स में बहुत गर्मी हो जाती है तो यहाँ की ठंडी हवा के लिए आते हैं। सो इट इज़ अ 24 आवर 24/7 12 मंथ डेस्टिनेशन। सो ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ पे कोई सीजनैलिटी है। काफ़ी स्टेट्स में सीजनैलिटी होती है, यहाँ पे सीजनैलिटी नहीं है, ये एडवांटेज है। दूसरा एडवांटेज, जैसे हम पहले भी बोला था, यहाँ का कल्चर, या म्यूज़िक, आर्ट, कुजीन, इन सब चीज़ों को बढ़ावा देना। क्योंकि जो लोग बाहर से आते हैं, चीज़ें देखते हैं, उनको अच्छे पहाड़ नज़र आते हैं, साइट्स नज़र आती हैं, बट आज दुनिया एक थोड़े नए दौर पे जा रही है, वो एक्सपीरियंशियल टूरिज़्म की तरफ जा रही है। तो वहाँ की जो डेवलपमेंट हमारे को करनी है, लोगों को यहाँ का रहन सहन का तरीका, यहाँ के कश्मीरी लोगों का म्यूज़िक, खाना, कपड़े, किस किस्म का कल्चर है, इससे भी एक्सपोजर चाहिए। तो आई थिंक टू डेवलप टूरिज्म, बिसाइड्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, besides ensuring sustainability to protect this beautiful place, I think we also need to create immersive experiences. So this is important to grow the industry. Stability is a given, most definitely, and I think it is a great thing that you are doing a program like this, because this spreads the word that this is the place to be in. जन्नत यहाँ है, यहाँ है, यहाँ है।
और आप और हम सब अगर यहाँ हैं, और जम्मू और कश्मीर सरकार इस वक्त आइकॉनिक वीक स्पिरिट ऑफ कश्मीर, एंड दैट इज द इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट, विलास पवार, द स्पिरिट ऑफ कश्मीर, द स्पिरिट ऑफ इंडिया, द आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया, you know, a lot of time that is the binding factor, that is the inviting factor. आपने कहा कि यहाँ पर क्यों कम आते हैं फॉरेन टूरिस्ट। Do you think potential है इस ट्रेंड को रिवर्स करने का? For that, what is required? I mean, infrastructure definitely. Flight connections हो गई हैं, but maybe international flights need to be connected here. But the fact that Kashmir is, mountains, gardens, flowers, the crisp air outside, this quality of air, and pristine. Because yes, some of our hill stations are overexposed, overexploited, but Kashmir is virgin territory. How do you think, when you say in a planned manner things should go on, how do you think that should go on, and what's the blueprint for that?
First, the most important factor, single most factor, if I have to give it what has hindered the growth in the past, if I can call it that, is stability. And if that is taken care of, I believe tourism here will jump tenfold. All things being equal, no change anything, just the stability part of it is going to take tourism to another level in this country, in the state. Second, infrastructure needs to be developed, yes. I represent economy, budget, 3-star, 4-star hotel chain. And being one of the largest in the world, we have seen that it goes hand in hand. There's a luxury segment which Rohit represents and Mrs. Suri represent, but there's a fair amount of domestic tourism, and I think COVID has actually gone and proved it once again that the domestic tourism is here to sustain long-term growth. I'm confident that we are already growing at about 40 to 50% year-on-year growth in domestic tourism, and every Indian, I think, who stays here knows one thing, that he must visit Kashmir once. बहुत सुना है, So it is something that definitely it will call for a visit on this place, and like I said earlier, there is no place like this in the country. It has got everything in it: the mountains, the rivers, the flower, the people, the flower, the handicraft, the clothes. The movies have added to it in the past. So it is something that is there every on the wish list. Hotels will come up. If the traffic moves, investors will come. Investor-friendly environment would be great. But I think in order for Kashmir not to go down the path of the other hill stations, we must have the local authorities plan the development. You know, these are the areas, these are the kind of areas that they have luxury hotels, the spots, budget hotels will have this. Give incentives, you know, incentives will only help booster the investment pace in the state. So I think if we can plan that well and good, we must not go rampant development. So you just cannot. And I think it's important that the authorities plan what kind of, you know, it must go with the environment. The building and the structure and you know, how you recycle the waste, all that should be taken care of. You know, we are already seeing drastic climate changes happening everywhere, so we must respect the fact that it must be a planned and you know, eco-friendly development that comes up and should blend in. It would be a shame to see a structure here in you know, a Marine Drive Bombay structure come up in a place like Kashmir.
When in Kashmir, do like the Kashmir.
Absolutely.
I wanted to add something, you know, with infrastructure also is the people who serve that infrastructure. I think, you know, skill development is a very, very important aspect to develop skill for the entire tourism framework. So it's not only for hotels. There is a Hotel Management Institute. We support that. I'm sure Dr. Suri and us, we give training to all the students who pass out from there. But I'm talking about expanding that, you know. Even the Shikara, you know, the experience, that needs to be taken up a notch. You know, how the shopping experience needs to be taken, the guides. I think there has to be this whole skill development that will lift the level of experience, which will attract international travelers.
That's a very good point that you make, Mr. Khosla, because skill development extremely important, and you know, enough emphasis will have to be paid on that, and then that creates employment, which is you know, a base income plus kind of an employment, and that is what will push the standards of living up in some of these areas. So very, very, very valid point made by you. But since Vilas also touched upon the film business, so let me ask you, Jyotsna Suri, considering you have the oldest hotel and it's a palace, there must be a lot of stories associated with your property in terms of film shooting. Aajkal kam hoti hain. Recently we've seen a few films, you know, Sher Shah, and you know, a couple of upcoming movies, but pehle बहुत सारी होती थी. Every film had one schedule that was always shot in Kashmir, and you know, from Kashmir ki Kali onwards. What are your memories of some of those?
So, you know, Kashmir actually got a huge boost because of the film industry. And so there's also a very logical reason why I have to share that with you. You know, there weren't any air conditioners in the Bombay studios. And there was when they discovered Kashmir, and the weather here was so delightful that they used to move their units en bloc and stay here in the palace for months on end, and they would do their shooting here. And so every film, every second film was shot in Kashmir. And we've had huge memories. I was not, of course, you know, I didn't see all that happening myself, but what I get as information is that you would have a Biswajit, and you would have a Shami Kapoor, and you would have a Dharminder, Rekha, Rakhi, Tina, all of them shooting, staying here, and they would be shooting different films. So they would all be doing different locations. They would go on to their location, and in the evening, they may be shooting for 3 or 4 different films. They would all sit together. So the film industry really gave a big boost to Kashmir. Once all this started happening here, we've had a few films. I have to say there have been a few films, and it's coming back again. But so you're talking about films and you talked about the spirit of Kashmir, and I want to bring in my friend Vidhu Vinod Chopra, who calls it Kashmiriyat. The spirit of Kashmir he defines with a word called Kashmiriyat. And what is Kashmiriyat? Kashmiriyat is the hospitality of the people, the food of the people, the culture of the people, their embroideries, their exquisite embroideries, and most importantly, their love and affection. I have to tell you that when I was coming here, and as a woman, I've traveled on the aircraft being the only passenger. I was sharing that with Bharat as well. And I had a taxi driver whose wife used to come with kahwa for me. So imagine this huge palace, absolutely veeran, nothing here, and there's this one lady who's there holding her samovar, and she was giving me hot kahwa to drink. So that was the love and affection that I got from the people here, and that is the true spirit of Kashmir. This is the Kashmiriyat. And this Kashmiriyat is what needs to be shared. I mean, we are seeing the negative side of Kashmir, but the true Kashmiriyat, the true spirit of Kashmir is completely the opposite. And that is what needs to be shared with the rest of the world. And your channel is going to be extremely helpful in doing that so that you get more and more people. And one more line before I close, and that is a line from a film called Bemisal. I don't know if any of you have seen that film.
I have.
You have. Amitabh Bachchan sings this song and he says, "Kitni khoobsurat ye tasveer hai, mausam bemisal benazir hai, ye Kashmir hai, ye Kashmir hai."
Absolutely. We remember that film, Bemisal, shot in some of the lawns outside here. And yes, it is from those times. And that's what I say, that many of us, when we were growing up, we saw films shot in Kashmir. And then everything moved lock, stock and barrel to Switzerland because conditions here were not. And now, just gradually, some films are coming back. While film shooting doesn't really become an indicator of the economy or the tourism, but it is just an iconic thing. And Mr. Khosla, I want to ask you this. Vilas touched upon this point. What is very important when we are developing Kashmir is the point of doing it in a planned manner. How much do you think the tourism sector can sit with the government and do that kind of planning? Because we don't want an unplanned mushrooming of hotels or Airbnbs coming up just because the new generation and the new world wants it. But the issue here is, and I'm not talking about Airbnb, the brand, but I'm just saying the concept. While all this is very good and people want all of this, but it has to be done in a planned manner. भागीदारी इस पर हो सकती है, possible है, और शुरुआत कुछ हुई है?
देखिए जी, गवर्नमेंट जो है वो इट्स फॉर द पीपल बाय द पीपल, राइट? सो इसी तरीके से जो डेवलपमेंट है, इट हैज़ टू बी फॉर द पीपल ऑल्सो. सो सस्टेनेबिलिटी, जिस तरह से आपने कहा, बहुत ज़रूरी है. पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप ज़रूरी है, बट सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट के तरीके से नहीं, इवन पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन में. सो जो कश्मीर की टूरिज़म पॉलिसी है, उसके अंदर सब लोगों को इकट्ठे मिलके सबकी इनपुट्स लेनी चाहिए, सो दैट किसी भी एक का ज़्यादा फ़ायदा या किसी का नुकसान नहीं होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट फॉर द इंडस्ट्री, क्योंकि टूरिज़म कश्मीर के लिए इतना ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट रेवेन्यू जनरेटर है, इमेज ड्राइवर है. इसलिए टूरिज़म बिजनेस के अंदर पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप इन पॉलिसी मेकिंग इज़ क्रिटिकल. ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि सब इकट्ठे मिलकर जब बात करेंगे, अलग अलग जगहों की अलग अलग बातें आएंगी, तभी एक कंसोलिडेटेड कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्लान बनेगा. नहीं तो क्या होता है कि जैसे टाउन डिपार्टमेंट है, वो प्लानिंग डिपार्टमेंट अपने टाउन प्लानिंग के हिसाब से चलेगा. एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट है वो अपने एजुकेशन प्लान की तरफ से चलेगा, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और रोड्स डिपार्टमेंट वो अपने प्लान से चलेगा, बट टूरिज्म इज द बाइंडर, व्हाट बाइंड्स ऑल दिस टुगेदर। जब तक ये सारा इकट्ठा मिलके एक नहीं होगा तब तक एक्सपीरियंस अच्छा नहीं होगा और सस्टेनेबल नहीं होगा। इसलिए सबकी इनपुट्स लेनी जरूरी है, टूरिज्म की इनपुट्स लेनी भी जरूरी है।
Synergies.
Synergies.
If I
Synergies
can
is
just add a little to what Rohit is saying. See, a strong tourism policy is a must. And to make that policy, what he was trying to say is that stakeholders should be part of that formation of that policy. And that, I think, is essential for Kashmir. So I think really the first thing that they need to do is to formulate a very strong tourism policy so that we can handle the onslaught or the bourgeoising number of tourists that are going to come into the state.
very well put. Vilas, I want to ask you, the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, always has spoken about one thing. मुश्किलें आती हैं, पर हर मुश्किल, हर आपदा एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी होती है. And Kashmir has been through a roller coaster in recent times. Do you think the situation in which Kashmir is today, it is an opportunity to take it to the next level? And is there going to be, or are there going to be takers for these opportunities in Kashmir?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, our Honourable Prime Minister said it very correctly, and the opportunity is huge. And I think, you know, J&K or Kashmir has the opportunity to make tourism the single highest revenue-earning industry for themselves. I mean, like I said earlier, they've got everything here, from the air to the beauty to culture, heritage, food, rivers, mountains, snow. So, like Rohit mentioned, it's a year-round destination. Very, very few places have that advantage of having everything. It's got every ingredient for success. So once the stability comes in there, and I think there are investors by hordes waiting on the outside just to see how stable it is. It's just a matter of time. This state will develop by leaps and bounds, and tourism being the main driving factor for economy. And when I say just not hotels, I'm talking tourism as a wholesome product. You know, all the ancillary, all the handicrafts. I mean, we all know the pashmina shawls and all the clothes that that go with it,
carpets,
the food, the
paper
silks,
mache.
Carpets, paper mache.
The art of making the carpets world across is known across. So there is definitely 50-60% growth year on year from domestic tourism, but even from overseas tourism. It is you may go to Switzerland for skiing, but that's about it. There's nothing else. There's been a couple of times. There's no warmth there. It's just barren land, and you just keep driving, and you can't see a soul for miles. All that is taken care of in a place like Kashmir. You have the warmth, the cuisine is one of my favorite, by the way. So it is definitely something that we have a great opportunity. But like I said, it has got to be sustained so it doesn't kill itself for the years to come. It's got to maintain. It's got to be planned. And like Mrs. Suri said, involve, and Rohit mentioned also, involve the stakeholders who are participating, not just hoteliers, but even the people who make a livelihood out of the ancillary industries, the town planning department, the environment, the roads, the education. Rohit touched upon a very important point that we need to raise the bar across everything, not just for the manpower perspective, but even the guides, the tourists. They need to know what to sell, what not to sell, so every market price point.
बहुत अच्छी बात कही इन्होंने, और मैं इसी बात पर कंक्लूड करना चाहूँगी कि आप बाहर जाकर बर्फ़ देख सकते हैं, कश्मीर जैसी ठंड देख सकते हैं, लेकिन जो मेहमान नवाजी और जो प्यार मोहब्बत कश्मीर में है, अपने लोगों के बीच में है, वो कभी बाहर किसी देश में मिल नहीं सकती, क्योंकि ये कश्मीर है, ये भारत है, यहाँ लोग भी अपने हैं और यहाँ के लोगों का प्यार भी अपना है, और यही फ़र्क है कश्मीर एक टूरिज़म डेस्टिनेशन में और बाकी जगह की टूरिज़म डेस्टिनेशंस में. Thank you very much, Mr. Rohit Khosla. Thank you, Jyotsna Suri ji, and thank you, Vilas Pawar, for joining me on this very, very soul-touching event, and not just an event, it's just soul-touching because this is the spirit of Kashmir. Jannat agar hai to bas yahi hai.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies, for joining me. Investing in Kashmir, and we are talking about the spirit of Kashmir. I want to begin with you, Mr. Amitabh Kant. Amitabh Kant, Kashmir, many people, we just had a tourism session, and we had Mr. Rohit Khosla from the Taj Group of Hotels, Jyotsna Suri, who has been running the hotel here in Kashmir and not shut it for a single day, even when there was no guest. And that's what is the new definition of resilience and resilience of an Indian entrepreneur. We also had Vilas Pawar, who is the CEO of the Choice Group of Hotels. And Mr. Amitabh Kant, the words we heard in the last session were that people are looking forward to Kashmir. There is stability. There needs to be a long period of stability after the abrogation of Article 370. And people here are looking forward to more opportunities, more employment, and a better standard of living. Where do you think we need to begin from in Jammu and Kashmir? Mr. Kant.
So Navika, last week I was in Kashmir. I spent 4 days traveling all across Kashmir. And both in Niti Aayog and earlier in the Ministry of Tourism, I've always handheld Kashmir. I'm a great believer that Kashmir is the world's greatest travel and tourism destination. I'm also a believer that actually travel and tourism is the best antidote to terrorism. Because travel and tourism believes in serenity, it believes in peace, it believes in harmony, whereas terrorism is just the reverse of it. And actually, if we want to promote peace and harmony, every single stakeholder of Kashmir, every single lover of Kashmir, every single person living in Kashmir must become an ambassador for travel and tourism. Because if travel and tourism grows, then Kashmir grows and expands. The earnings of the people of Kashmir grows, and actually there is a great amount of jobs and livelihood in Kashmir. I'm a great believer that Kashmir in the years to come will see huge impact in terms of health outcomes. It will see huge improvement in learning outcomes. It will see a radical transformation in its infrastructure, simply because for years we've kept Kashmir isolated from the rest of the world and the rest of India. As you will see more and more investment coming in from various parts of India and investment for growth, you will create more and more jobs for the people of Kashmir, which is very important. You know, the worst thing we do is to ensure that without investments there is unemployment, and with unemployment there is this feeling of alienation. So what the government of India has done now with the removal of 370 article is to ensure that people from all over are able to invest in Kashmir for the benefit of the people of Kashmir, and therefore more and more jobs will get created. But more than anything else, the people of Kashmir, my own experience of people of Kashmir, and I've traveled over more than about 20 times to Kashmir at several stages of my career. The people of Kashmir are very peace-loving. They want growth, they want progress, they want harmony. And actually what the government of India has done now is to create an ecosystem for that peace and harmony to prevail. And what the government of India has done is to bring in transparency in its implementation so that you go through transparent process to ensure that every single paisa is actually accounted for, that you are able to deliver on ground, and that you are able to ensure that infrastructure is actually delivered for the benefit of the citizens of Kashmir. The leakages have ended in Kashmir. My review with the Chief Secretary and his entire team of officials and my interaction with the Lieutenant Governor reveals that actually now the Government of India has brought in transparency, it has brought in an absolute implementation on ground, the leakages have ended, and all this is for the benefit of the state, all this is for the benefit of the people and the citizens of Kashmir.
Well, Mr. Amitabh Kant, as you can see, is extremely passionate about Kashmir. We miss having you on stage with us here, Mr. Kant, but your passion seems to bring your voice very loud and clear from Delhi to Srinagar. Mr. Hariom Rai, I want to ask you because, investments, tourism is one part of the story, and it's a very, very important part, but there is another part. And as we are going high-tech, when there is tourism, there is also need for communication. And you're an Indian entrepreneur. I want to ask you, as an Indian entrepreneur, what do you think about the climate of investment in Kashmir? Would you put your money into Kashmir, given the fact that the government is committed to changing the story of Kashmir, and we are in the midst of celebrating the spirit of Kashmir here in Srinagar?
So, thank you very much. I think Kashmir overall, everyone talked about it. Mr. Kant talked about it so passionately about people of Kashmir. This is the place where actually people have said Jannat lies, and who is not going to invest in Kashmir? Who would not want to invest in Kashmir? I think this is the most valuable destination to be at in terms of tourism and also in terms of investment. However, since the state itself has a very limited population of 1.23 crores, what needs to be seen by the investors and manufacturers is that whatever is being manufactured here is going to be exported within India and outside of India from the state of Kashmir. I think that's the most critical one. And likewise, right now, what government is doing in terms of making sure that the peace actually prevails, and for that actions have been taken. This is what I think is the right step in the right direction, and this is what is paving way for investments happening in Kashmir.
Very well put, Mr. Hariom Rai. Let me also get in Mr. Devi Shetty. Mr. Devi Shetty, just yesterday, Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah, who's currently in Srinagar, made an announcement of the setting up of medical colleges, at least groundwork being done for 7 new medical colleges, and he said a lot more medical students will come out of Kashmir with these medical colleges coming up. Do you think medical tourism, do you think investment in hospitals and training of doctors in Kashmir can be another area of focus to bring Kashmir up to speed with other developed parts of the country?
Thank you. First of all, thanks to the Prime Minister and the Government of India, we were made to feel that I'm a South Indian running a hospital in Jammu Kashmir is out of my imagination until the government invited us to manage one of the largest super specialty hospital built by the Vaishno Devi temple. I can just tell you that that hospital is much better equipped than most of the big hospital we see rest of the country. It's an amazing hospital. And we looked at the overall healthcare delivery of Jammu. Definitely Jammu requires a medical college in every district. Not only a medical college, medical, nursing, paramedical education. Every state of India should become independent in terms of producing their own skilled manpower. Every district has to have enough manpower to manage their own hospital. So Jammu is not an exception. But the most important thing, what we noticed is the government's proactive approach in promoting healthcare related activities. I'm sure you're aware that most of the J&K citizens are now covered by health insurance sponsored by the government. That will have a massive impact on the entire healthcare scenario of the country. So overall, we are very, very bullish on Jammu Kashmir, and we are hopeful that the healthcare infrastructure in that part of the country will only increase so that they don't need to run to Delhi for every major illnesses. And that's going to happen.
Dr. Sangeeta Reddy, want to ask you, because Jammu is an area that has often been discussed, at least politically here, that Jammu gets the development, Srinagar not so much. Jammu feels Srinagar gets more attention. The valley gets more attention than Jammu does. As investors, how do you see the situation at the moment in the valley, in Kashmir? And do you think big hospitals like yours, like the Apollo group of hospitals, would look at Kashmir not just from the point of view of an investor, but also from the point of view of an Indian? Because at some points, even lower returns sometimes are important because these issues and these investments are from the soul. Do you think investors need to think about Kashmir at that level as well?
Navika, you said it so beautifully. I was invited to Kashmir 2 months ago by the LG, had very good meetings with the industry secretary, and that's exactly the point. He said you need to do it for India. I took this to our board and our chairman, who unequivocally they said that it is our national duty. And so right now Apollo is engaged in market research. We're looking at who will our partners be, and I commit on behalf of our organization that we will very happily and proudly create a world-class medical institution in the state. I also want to say that healthcare today has moved in multiple dimensions. So besides a large hospital, there is clinics, there is telemedicine. We've already been receiving many, many patients into our Delhi hospitals, but it's time for us to be able to treat them in their own environments. So we will give a holistic approach. We will ensure that we have a good presence in this state, and we will do it, like you rightly said, out of national interest as well.
Very well put. Let me get in the young man, Bharat Joshi, on my panel. And Bharat, you're somebody who's put your money where your mouth is, which is you have put in an logistics park, you're working in Kashmir, and you've started working in Kashmir, the abrogation of Article 370. So I want to ask you, what's the sense, what's the experience, and what do you think the government needs to do if it really wants to push up private participation in the building of Kashmir?
Thank you. So a lot to unpack in that question, so I'll try and take it one by one. The experience you asked about has been, I think, spectacular. This is an extremely business-friendly state. I say this very respectfully. It may not be obvious for people who are new to the UT or the state like we were, but everybody in the government is absolutely aligned at every level towards ensuring your success as an investor or as a newcomer. So the experience has been fantastic. The sense, so in some ways, this is the classic chicken and egg problem. So as a logistics operator, we would ideally like to go where there's a lot of industry, a lot of trading, and so on. However, industry, Mr. Rai and others, would want to go where there is excellent transport infrastructure, where supply chains are thriving and vibrant. So this is, so what comes first? So we said, look, if you just map the country, there are very few large, potentially growing markets which haven't been already oversaturated. And Jammu and Kashmir is one of them. And it's only a matter of time that it will, come into its own. So we said, okay, let's, make the first step. Let us break this chicken and egg question and, let the rest follow. And actually, there is a fairly good, under CIDCO in Sambad, where we've put up our plant, there is a certain amount of industry, and which is growing almost by the day. So we are extremely optimistic, and I think under a year, we'll be up and running already. And this is a multimodal logistics terminal. This would be indistinguishable to anything you would see in Dubai or Mumbai or anywhere else, and truly multimodal. So a railway connection, road connection, again, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers and partners for us, because we will need the ecosystem. So we will have to develop training for employees. We will have to develop, the ecosystem of truckers, of service providers, and so on. So we really are, in this for the long haul, and we are committed.
Well, in for a long haul, Mr. Amitabh Kant. We earlier spoke with the tourism investors and people who already are running businesses here, and most of them felt that given the fact that we're starting a little later in Kashmir than in other hill stations, etc., there needs to be a plan for a very planned and a very considered way in which investments are done. Larger hotels, smaller hotels, considering tourism is the big industry, or even industrial parks that come up, so that the ecology of the area remains, the pristine beauty of Kashmir remains, and it doesn't go the over-exploitation route that we've seen in some of the hill stations in our country. Is the Niti Aayog going to be looking at some of those issues? Because unless we can preserve Kashmir to its pristine beauty that it has, we may in the long term be compromising on a longer term solution of Kashmir as a destination for tourism or even investment. So what are the plans on that front?
Yeah. Navika, one of the most pleasant surprises of my visit to Kashmir this particular time, last week, was that both Srinagar and Pahalgam were absolutely spick and span. I've never seen them so neat and clean. This time there was no garbage, there was no waste, there was no plastic, absolutely clean. The Dal Lake, it was a delight to travel around Dal Lake simply because it had been totally cleared up. It was absolutely clean, and a lot of cleaning operations were going on around the clock. I'm a long-term believer that travel and tourism is all about going green, it's all about sustainability, and it's about responsible tourism. And the opportunity for making Kashmir one of the greatest destinations of the world is incumbent upon all of us. And by ensuring that this is a unique model of sustainability, this is a unique model of ecotourism, and that would be possible if each one of us take the responsibility that we will actually ensure that there is no littering. Travel and tourism is very good because it ensures great earnings, it has massive employment impact. But there is a danger because it can have, if you promote mass tourism and low value tourism, it has an impact on the local culture. And therefore, I'm against any kind of low value tourism. Kashmir is such a pristine destination. I've traveled extensively to Europe and to Switzerland. At the peak of its winter, Kashmir is way ahead of Davos. It is way ahead of Switzerland at the peak of the summer. It's a magnificent destination, and we need to bring the world's best tourists here. Some of the greatest advantages of Kashmir now is that it has some of the most magnificent golf courses. If you look at Pahalgam, in my mind, it is the world's best golf course. And when you add it along with the golf course in Srinagar and the golf course in Gulmarg, this makes it one of the greatest golfing destinations. Get the best golfers from around the world to experience Kashmir. That experience you will not get anywhere in the world, I can assure you. And thirdly, the experience of the tulips of Kashmir, this is magnificent. And therefore, to my mind, the experience of visiting Pahalgam or Gulmarg, and I want to give you my own experience because I look after two districts of Baramulla and Kupwara, as both of them are aspirational districts. I have visited these districts quite often, and let me tell you, the performance in both Baramulla and Kupwara has been extremely good. These are amongst the best performing districts of India. The hospital standards are very high. The health outcomes are extremely good. The learning outcomes are very good. But what has impressed me the most is the women of Kashmir. The women of Kashmir are so enterprising. Their spirit of entrepreneurship is so phenomenal. And actually, they are some of the most the brightest and the most brilliant women of India are the Kashmiri women of India. And therefore, if we unleash the spirit of the Kashmiri women and the youth of Kashmir all over India, Kashmir will be transformed. And therefore, what we need to do is to just harness this great enterprising spirit of the women of Kashmir and the youth of Kashmir to take the state forward. This can be the greatest state in the world now.
Well, you're a very popular man in this Darbar Hall of the Lalit Hotel because we have a lot of women in the audience who gave you a big round of applause. So a big round of applause for the women of Kashmir, though I, of course, have a bone to pick with you, Amitabh Kant. Women all over the country are very nice. So there's Jyotsna Suri here, there is Sangeeta Reddy there. Present company, not excluded. But yes, women everywhere are making a difference, and it would be very nice and very chivalrous of you if you could actually applaud some of the other women who are sitting here on the esteemed panel here. Sangeeta Reddy, should you not take objection to Mr. Amitabh Kant only complimenting women in Kashmir, though of course they are the best, but hum bhi bure nahi hai.
No, I think he absolutely knows that, Navika. And I think in the context of talking about a new developmental model, about a sustainable model, about an environmentally friendly model, about healthcare for all, the equal participation of women is a national objective that I'm actually glad he called out to. So let women all over the country prosper, develop, and let the concept of women-led development be one of the cornerstones of the new India.
Bilkul, you very well said. Dr. Devi Shetty wants to come in there. Yes, Dr. Devi Shetty.
I tend to agree with what Mr. Amitabh Kant mentioned about women of Kashmir. Last 7 years.
Now here I will object.
I'm not saying that the other women of the country are inferior. My observation, I look at only from my point of view. First, look at the indicator of healthcare in Kashmir. It is one of the best. Their maternal mortality, infant mortality is very, very good. How it happened, it's the greatest contribution of that comes from the responsibility of the women. Second, we are involved with running a nursing college along with the Shrine Board. Those girls from Kashmir, they make fantastic nurses. Very, very outstanding nurses. So given an opportunity, I have no doubt that they will be able to transform quite a few aspects of our society. So I tend to agree with Mr. Amitabh Kant that there is something exception among the women of Kashmir.
Okay, a lot of women in the audience here. Any of you want to ask a question? आप में से कोई सवाल पूछना चाहता है? अमिताभ कांत साहब हैं, CEO हैं नीति आयोग के, डॉक्टर देवी शेट्टी हैं, संगीता रेड्डी जी हैं, अपोलो हॉस्पिटल्स की CEO. सब कह रहे हैं कि कश्मीर की औरतें बहुत काम करती हैं और बहुत अच्छी प्रोफेशनल्स हैं और नर्सिंग में बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस रहा है women का. Anybody wants to ask a question? You want to ask a question? No? Shy? Okay, so they're very happy, but they don't have a question. I think they just accept the compliments that come their way. Hariom Rai, there is a quotient, a youth quotient that exists in Kashmir. 70% of the population of Kashmir is below the age of 35. Now, given the fact that this population exists, unless we keep them employed, unless we keep them busy, fruitfully, productively involved, there will be the problems that we're talking about, especially in Kashmir, which is terrorism, stone pelting. All those issues have stopped, but their employment is the only anathema for something like this. So do you think investors will be looking at Kashmir? And I'm asking you this question repeatedly is because initially it will have to be a conscious decision to go there and not look only at quick returns.
Yeah, so I think let me answer your question a little, in a different manner. So when we saw Mr. Khan speaking, one could very clearly see the passion, enthusiasm and energy deeply inside him. I think that is the most critical thing which is required in every single part of the government, because it is the government who is actually at the core of the business, at the helm of the business in my mind, and not otherwise. So therefore, what is required, first of all, is to make sure that the actual potential of Kashmir and the whole of India is unlocked, and government is the most important thing is that passion inside Mr. Khan has to go all through the government to ensure that this potential unlocked. And when I'm talking about the potential unlocked means what? Michelangelo once said, and I repeat, that the greatest danger to most of us is not that we aimed too high and missed it, but that we aimed too low and achieved it. So the opportunity in Kashmir is not, going in linear progression. Actually, we can go in exponential progression actually in Kashmir. And there are so many places where you can have the tourism as good as Pahalgam, etc., etc. A lot more emphasis is required by the government to make sure that the true potential of Kashmir and the rest of India is unlocked. And when everybody is looking at doing the right things and the positive things, I think the whole environment of the Kashmir is going to change, and that is what is going to bring most of the investors, because the money is going to be here, the people are going to be here, and the business is going to be here. Why not the investors going to come? I think it is going to happen eventually.
Well then, Mr. Amitabh Kant, you have a tall task and you have 2 doctors with you. Maybe you can, along with Covaxin, have a passion vaccine to bring investments into Kashmir. But Bharat, I want to ask you, because a lot of questions are raised about stability and long-term stability. Do you think investors like yourself still have a question mark in their mind?
I think we've sort of answered the question with our investment. So, but yes, I think. Yes, so I think we've answered the question in some ways by investing already, and we do understand that the only game in town really is the long game, and this is with all of India and also here.
So Mr. Amitabh Kant, especially the tourism industry, I keep coming back to tourism because that's the most important industry as of now in Kashmir, and it contributes about 6 to 7% to the national GDP and has the potential to go up. But many of them in conversations have said that during the tough COVID times, they stood, with the country. They've weathered the storms, the challenges. But very often what happens is they get shoulders to cry upon in the government, but not much help that comes their way. Mr. Amitabh Kant, some of these export earning businesses like the tourism sector and some of these sectors which keep going on whether there is an economic slowdown or good times are around the corner. Do you think it requires a fresh look in terms of a policy impetus that is desperately required post-COVID?
See, two key things. One is this huge focus which the government, the present government under the Lieutenant Governor has put on enhancing infrastructure. You know, I saw the quality of the roads as top class now. There's huge improvement. The last mile connectivity is much better. Travel and tourism is a civilizational issue. If the destination is kept neat, clean, and tidy, people will come and visit the destination. And that is what has happened to Kashmir. I was quite amazed at a number of new products which have been created. Like there's a wonderful musical fountain on the Dal Lake now, and you can go around it. There is a huge experience in both Gulmarg and Pahalgaon now. And, almost all hotels were chocker full during the season. You can't get a room for love or money. So what it shows is that there is a huge interest outside Kashmir for people to come and visit Kashmir. There are a large number of tour operators from across India who are very keen to bring tourists around the year. What Kashmir must become is not just a summer destination. It must become a 24/7, 365 days a year destination around the year. Because to my mind, there's nothing better than the winter of Kashmir. And it's one of the few destinations that is in very close geographical proximity to Delhi. But what is unique about travel and tourism of Kashmir is not just the product of travel and tourism, but the uniqueness about the crafts, about the skills of the workers, about its carpets, about its handloom industry, about its handicrafts. When you combine all this and the warmth and hospitality of the people of Kashmir, all that, and the literacy and the health standards of Kashmir, that is what makes it a unique destination. Don't look at it travel and in isolation as just a travel and tourism product. It's the package of all this. It's handicrafts, it's handloom, it's women's weaving, a lot of unique shawls, it's carpets, it's all this combined, and it's very high levels of physical quality of life index, which makes it a very unique destination. And to my mind, that is what needs to be put before the world.
Absolutely. Sitting here, and Bharat, you want to add to that?
Yes, thank you, because your question did also relate to sort of business continuity. So in some ways, last year under the COVID pandemic, the resilience of supply chains was brought center stage. And in many ways, what we've achieved in this country with over 1 billion doses administered now, so that is really not possible without a very robust supply chain end to end. Similarly, if businesses need to have predictability, they need to know that they will have access on a continued basis to intermediate goods or raw materials. They'll be able to get finished products to customers. Also, for any industry, especially, let's say, any state or UT like J&K, you manufacture here, of course, for the home market, but also for other states and also for exporting to other countries. So again, supply chain connectivity is vital. Thank you.
Absolutely. Supply chain connectivity is vital. Skill development vital, and in the medical sector, the skill development is being looked at by Dr. Devi Shetty. Sangeeta Reddy wants to come in. Yes, ma'am.
So, Navika, that's exactly the point I wanted to make, that every new hospital bed that's created when we invest generates directly 6 new jobs. And employment is at the heart of stability. So I definitely believe that encouraging healthcare in every way possible is a very good step. I also wanted to make a slightly more personal sharing. That is that stability is so much about mindset. And my son, who runs an infrastructure company, is actually doing rural electrification in Jammu and Kashmir. And we were worried about him visiting, but he has visited Jammu and Kashmir over 9 times in the last 18 months. And it's been safe, the people have been hospitable. So for all of us from outside of this beautiful state, I would like to share the message that it's a wonderful state and we must all participate and embrace its development.
Well, more important than an investor's, putting up there and putting their weight behind this is the endorsement coming from a mother. And a mother who thinks it's safe to send her son and at night time, do business in Jammu and Kashmir. I think you need no more, no better an endorsement than a mother saying that it's okay and my son goes there at night and does rural electrification. What a tremendous endorsement there, Dr. Sangeeta Reddy. Dr. Devi Shetty, you've already said that you're doing training with the Vaishno Devi board. How many visits have you made to Jammu and Kashmir? And do you plan to do work in Srinagar as well? So what if you're a South Indian? Kashmir beckons you.
Last 7 years now, I have lost the number of visits I made. Before the COVID, we are going very often. Because of the COVID, of course, the meetings and all the activities have come down and become virtual. Otherwise, I'm just waiting to travel because my wife loves Kashmir. And we, 37 years ago, we went to Kashmir for our honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
And we have lovely memories. So it's a place where we visit very often. My children visit and all of us visit. And we have no hesitation in visiting Jammu and Kashmir. No problems.
Very, very well said. And, we were just discussing that Kashmir is called heaven on earth. Jannat zami par agar kahin hai to yahan hai, Kashmir mein hai. And if you've been here for your honeymoon, then definitely this is the Jannat. And you've lasted 37 years. So it is definitely an endorsement that comes in for Jammu and Kashmir as a destination. Well, what can be better than having these voices here? From Mr. Hariom Rai to Bharat Joshi with me on the dais here, and there Amitabh Kant, Dr. Devi Shetty and Dr. Sangeeta Reddy, all of them sharing their personal anecdotes, endorsements, as well as their close involvement with Kashmir, not just at a work level, at an investment level, but at a personal level, at a soul level, to connect with Kashmir and to somehow remove all the bad dreams of the past and look forward to a very golden future that definitely Kashmir and India are destined to have. Thank you so very much to this very august panel with me here celebrating the spirit of Kashmir, and it is the week of the spirit of Kashmir here in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.